Hey guys, it's the Plant Doctor here. What I want to do today is talk to you guys about perhaps the most popular landscape shrub and how to propagate it, the boxwood. This particular cultivar is winter green boxwood. I have a whole flat of boxwoods that I've propagated, and I'm going to show you guys how to do it. You can see the roots here. Really nice root structure on these, so these turned out really well. I'm going to share with you what I did. The first thing we need to talk about is the media that I grew these in. So this is a mix. I've got a bucket of it over here. This is a mix of perlite and peat mixed 1 part to 1 part by volume. So what I did, I took a 1 gallon milk jug, just cut the top off of it and scooped it in some peat, dumped it in the wheelbarrow, and then I took that same milk jug and then took my perlite, filled it up, dumped it in the wheelbarrow, stirred it up real good, got the peat and the perlite mixed in together, and that's the media that we're going to be using to propagate these boxwoods. All right, it's a really good media. You can find that at any retail garden center. If you go to Lowe's, Home Depot, your local retail garden center, they should have bags of peat. They should have bags of perlite. You just buy those and mix them up equal parts in a bucket, and you have your media. You're ready to go. You may even find it pre-packaged in a bag somewhere already, 1 part to 1 part by volume. But that's the mixture that we're going with today. I took these cuttings that you see right here actually about a year ago. I kind of stuck them over in the corner this spring and forgot about them, and so I've been potting them up this morning, and I was like, you know what, I really need to do a video on how to do the boxwood. So I've been bumping these up into 1 gallons. I'm putting 2 cuttings per 1 gallon pot, kind of one on either side. This will fill in real nice in the middle, and we'll have a nice round shrub here. Probably, I'm going to say this will be rooted out in this pot by June. It won't do much this winter and early spring, but starting in March it'll really start to take off, and I would think by June that would be a marketable plant. So let's talk about how we go about propagating these. So I have several cuttings here that are about 6 inches long. And these are semi-hardwood cuttings. So I took these cuttings today. It is October the 24th. And so the end where I took the cuttings, they're hardened off pretty good. That's a pretty firm piece of wood there. Out here, this is new growth. It's still putting on a little bit of new growth. So these are not hardwood cuttings. They're not fresh or new wood cuttings. That would be this part up here, but this is more of a semi-hardwood cutting. And so how to prepare my cutting is pretty simple. Just some of these leaves down here at the bottom I'm going to pull off till I'm left with something like that. About half of the stem doesn't have leaves, and there's maybe 10 or so leaves that are still left up there. I'm going to take a box cutter or your pruning shears that you use to collect these with, and you're just going to wound the side of your cutting just like that. Okay, so this cutting's ready to be dipped. If you've been watching the channel, I've been using a powder most of the time. You can buy these rooting powders at any garden center. I'm using a product a little bit different today. This is a product called Dip and Grow. Okay, and you can get this online. I don't know if you can pick this up at Lowe's or Home Depot, but if you have a retail garden center, they may have it, but you can't pick it up online. Here's the brochure for it. Dip and Grow. Okay, so this is a liquid concentrate. So for semi-hardwood cuttings, it says to mix it up 10 parts water to 1 part solution, and you can see there we've got about I don't know if you can see the 10X on the lid here. I've got it at about 9 because these are a little past semi-hardwood. They're not quite hardwood, so I've got it there at about 9. But you take this little packet right here, and the directions say to wear gloves or PPE when you use this stuff because it is a concentrate. This is more powerful than the powder that you get at Lowe's or Home Depot. So we are going to wear gloves when we do this. I'm going to put on my gloves first. Now that we're ready, what I'll do is just take this, I'm going to cut it. Well, I say I'm going to cut it. We'll tear it. How about that? It tears a whole lot easier. So if you're doing this at home, just tear it like that. Kind of get it over to the side, and then empty out your rooting hormone into your water. Okay, and since I have gloves on, I'm going to just use my finger. See how the rooting hormone is kind of just sitting up at the top right there. You can use a popsicle stick or something like that, but since I'm wearing my gloves, we'll do that. And it'll make a milky solution like that, and you can see we're just below that 10 times 10 mark. So this is 10 parts water to 1 part solution. And here's the cutting that I just took. We're going to put it in there for about 3 seconds. And what I'll do when I'm not doing this on film, I'll prep 20 or 30 of these, and I'll just have a handful and stick them in there, and I will do 20 or 30 at one time. I've already got a 6-pack pre-packaged with our 1 part perlite to 1 part peat mix, and I'm not even really worried about pre-poking a hole in here. I'm just going to take my cutting, I'm just going to run it down in there 2 or 3 inches, and there's our cutting. Now what am I going to do with this now that that's stuck? Well, I'm going to go ahead and do 5 more of these. This will be 6. I have a propagation box that I use to propagate a lot of things. Right now I've got some loropetalum in there, some tea olives in there. I'm just going to stick that in there in the propagation box, and I'm going to let it sit all winter. If you're doing this on a smaller scale and you don't have a propagation box, I did a video of doing a camellia with sand in a water bottle, and I'll try to stick it up right here. But essentially what you could do, if you only wanted to do like 2 or 3 of these, what you could do is mix up your 1 part peat to 1 part perlite, take a water bottle, cut off the bottom of the water bottle, and then just put that water bottle over the top of your cuttings there, and it acts like your greenhouse. Just mist it ever so often. You'll want to see condensation on that water bottle, and it should root. These will not have good roots on them until the spring, so it's October. These are late season cuttings. They're going to be just fine in that propagation box. I'll check on them probably in March, and they'll have roots. They'll look something like that. And if I leave them alone for 1 growing season, they'll actually start to put on some vegetative growth. So this cutting in my left hand right here, this time last year looked like that. I've put no fertilizer on these, so they'll grow. All right, so that is a very nice cutting. So I'm bumping these up into these 1-gallon pots, and next spring I'll fertilize them pretty heavy, and they'll put on a lot of new growth, and it's a marketable plant. It's a plant for your yard that you didn't have to pay for. And guys, that's how we propagate boxwoods. Thanks for watching. As always, if you're enjoying the content here on the channel, please hit the like button, hit the sub button, share it with your gardening friends. We're all about sharing knowledge here on the channel. Until next time, this is the Plant Doctor.